compile and analyze data from complaints received at the Commission and unreported human rights violations monitored across the country. These analyses not only shed light on the state of human rights in our nation, but they also serve as a record of our progress and a guide to our future action. This month's edition features 55,218 complaints received by the Commission, with violations against state actors topping the chart. The violations recorded in the month of May impacted on an estimated 157,368 persons across the country, based on our victim impact analysis. This is a distressing indication that despite our efforts, there are still instances where those entrusted with upholding the law become violators of human rights. We must emphasize the importance of accountability and the reasonable use of force by law enforcement agencies. While it is essential to maintain law and order, it must be done in a manner that respects the dignity and rights of every individual. Any abuse of power or excessive force must be met with stiff and impartial justice. Furthermore, we have observed a troubling increase in violation of economic, social, and cultural rights. These rights are the bedrock of human dignity and well-being, yet they continue to be disregarded in many parts of our country. As we analyze the data presented in this dashboard, let us not lose sight of the real people behind the statistics, individuals and families who are struggling to access basic necessities such as food, shelter, and healthcare. It is incumbent upon the government to take concrete steps to address these violations and ensure that all citizens can enjoy economic, social, and cultural rights without discrimination or impediment. It is a fundamental principle well recognized in all the international instruments that government bears the primary responsibility for the protection of human rights. This includes implementing policies that promote equitable access to education, healthcare, housing, and employment opportunities. The month under review also witnesses significant and troublesome escalation in the activities of non-state actors, armed groups across the country. Our Human Rights Observatory recorded 298 killings and 360 abductions, largely attributed to terrorist and bandit groups. The Northwest continues to be a region of concern for us in this regard. We continue to see the worrisome trends of killing of men of our armed forces and the police. This is totally unacceptable. This, for us, constitutes a threat to security and the defense of human rights, and we continue to call on all relevant authorities at the state and national levels to stem this tide. One of the fundamental principles of democracy is the protection of human rights for all individuals, regardless of their ethnicity, religion, gender, or social status. As such, it is incumbent upon us, as the guardians of human rights in Nigeria, to remain vigilant and proactive in our efforts to safeguard these rights. Safeguarding these rights also means safeguarding our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to reiterate that as a commission, our work does not end with the publication of this dashboard. It is merely a tool, a starting point for further action. We must continue to collaborate with government agencies, policymakers, civil society organizations, and international partners to address the root causes of human rights violations and promote a culture of respect for human dignity and equality. I'd like to take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to all those who have contributed to this process. Our staff across all the states, our partners, the media, and all other stakeholders. Your dedication and commitment for the cause of human rights are truly commendable. And I'm confident that together we can bring about positive changes in the lives of millions of Nigerians. I also want to thank our partners, the United Nations Development Programme, and the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights for their invaluable support. And I call on other partners to rally around the Commission so that we can work together to make sure that human rights is not only a theory, but a life of reality. In conclusion, let us remember that the protection of human rights is not just a legal obligation. It is a moral imperative. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that every individual in Nigeria can live a life of dignity, freedom, and equality. Once more, I thank you all and welcome you to the June dashboard of the National Human Rights. And we warn that the citizens of this country must refrain from this new penchant of attacking law enforcement agents and killing them, because if you are no longer there, that's your freedom which you think you have, you will suddenly realize that you can't reach it. So it is very, very important that our law enforcement agents are also protected. Their right to life should also be protected. They have families, they have children, and the country has invested a lot of resources in these officers. So it's a colossal loss to the country, it's a colossal loss to their families, and it threatens our survival, our own security as a whole. So it should not be encouraged in any way that law enforcement agents should be attacked in the way the trend is going on, and that needs to stop. It really needs to stop, because this is not a good trend for us at all. We are hoping that with the last incident that happened in May, that this June will be free from any casualties amongst the law enforcement agents. And we hope that the drop in the number of child abandonments will continue on a positive note, and that the kidnappings will start dropping soon. We hope that all these awareness we are creating will help to reduce the rising number of these human rights violations. So do we have any questions from the media? Yes. Sorry? Okay. I wish somebody can take the mic to you. To understand, we're still trying to understand what is this new trend of attack on military and police personnel. Whatever is the case, we condemn it, and we don't think that is the way to go. Because we also need to understand that the killing of law enforcement agents also threatens our own security. You know, it's enlightened self-interest that we also protect our security personnel, because yes, it has been said they are major violators of human rights. However, if they are not there at all, you know, it will be chaos. It's also an opportunity to continue to advise that law enforcement agents, despite the provocation, we still expect them to behave like professionals who have been trained to avoid provocation, not to act, as people provoked. They must keep to their rules of engagement despite the provocation. It is not allowed that they embark on reprisals. It is not allowed that they embark on revenge. Rather, what we expect is that rule of law should prevail, that there should be investigation to identify those who have done these terrible things we are complaining about, and that those people should face justice. However, in that process, they are also duty bound to make sure that no innocent person suffers in the process. We will not support the law enforcement agents taking into their hands to punish or suffer innocent civilians who have no hand in this. We support every effort made to make sure that those who are behind this are arrested. And we also support that such investigation is best done by the police, who are well advanced in handling civilian relationships. No matter what is the case, it is our position that the investigations being carried on all these issues should be carried out in such a way that there are no further violations of human rights of people. We support every genuine effort to investigate and arrest those behind this, and they should be made to face the law. Justice must be done in this case. We emphasize again that this penchant for killing law enforcement agents, the Commission stands against it, we condemn it, and we encourage all Nigerians, please, to desist from this kind of conduct. Already the Commission has done so many things in the past to improve civil-military relations. We are engaged in training the police to make sure that we mainstream human rights into the operations. As a result of the intervention of the Commission a few years back, human rights desks were established in all military formations. A Department of Civil-Military Relations has even been established in all military formations now. So our law enforcement agents have continued to embrace mainstreaming human rights into the operations. But it is still work in progress. So what we expect is that both the civilians and the law enforcement agents must see the need to coexist and work together, because that's the only way our security will be improved. That's the only way promotion and protection of human rights will thrive in our country.